My speech is entitled "The Day My Daughter Was Born." This is to inform my audience on how memorable the day of my daughter's birth was to me. And it begins. After 16 hours and 19 minutes of labor, the reason I had to live was born. However, it was a long and anxious-filled day until that joyous event occurred. Luckily, my beautiful 6-pound, 13-ounce daughter was born with no complications. Let's start at the beginning of the day. I was attending a scheduled routine appointment when the nurse came in to check my status. To my surprise, I was told that I was in labor at 8 a.m. on November 4, 2008. She told me that I was 4 inches in diameter and that I had to stay at the hospital because I was in labor. I wasn't expecting the news. Nor did I feel any pains associated with being in labor. Consequently, I pleaded to leave the hospital because I wanted to take part in the November 4, 2008 election, the presidential election, that is. The nurse reluctantly agreed to let me leave the hospital, but I was ordered to return the same day. I was to return immediately if my water broke or if I have any pains associated with labor. I left the hospital with a huge smile on my face. Much of my family was amazed at how well I was reacting after being said I was in labor. I was able to stand in the line for over an hour just to vote. I continued to drive to my house and then back to my mom's. And all the while I had a 5-speed car, so could you imagine a big belly using her hands and feet shifting and making it back and forth? I was making it happen though. I even decided to try to walk on the treadmill, to try to induce labor, but still nothing happened. So even though I didn't experience much pain, I was obedient and returned back to the hospital approximately 8:40 that same day. The doctor wanted to break my water. However, my water broke by itself before the doctor could return. Then the pain began, that dreadful pain. The nurses offered many different positions, but I was a little reluctant to take in the techniques. One of the nurses suggested I try standing in the shower. Now that warm water falling on my belly and on my back made it very comfortable for me. That soon became my favorite position. I was able to stand in the shower for a long time, and it was really a big aid in reducing the amount of pain that I felt from each contraction. In a very short period of time, the doctor told me that it was time to deliver my baby. Delivery process was much faster than I expected. I was able to go without the use of epidural because I had previously asked the doctor that I didn't want to take the epidural. And so their way of helping me not think about the epidural was to not even say anything about it. My doctor also said that I did not have to get stitches because the damage was not that extensive. That was a huge relief. Lastly, my daughter was born breathing and healthy. She was the most beautiful girl I had ever seen, and she was more than I had ever dreamed. And with that said, I know deep in my heart that I will never forget the events that took place that day. Because that day, November 5th, 12:59 p.m., Chevelle Yvette Smith was born. And that was the most eventful day in my life.